Unlike the first Passover, where the promised protection was given after the first 9 plagues had wreaked havoc on Egyptian and Israelite alike, the seal signifying the promise is given before all the plagues and woes caused by the destroying angel, Mars. The angels were told not to destroy anything or any living being before the seal was in place. Now, this means that the future Passover will protect all those with the seal from all the woes documented by John. After all, the promise in the Word of Wisdom does not say that the destroying angel will pass over the saints for any specific plague. It is a blanket promise. The promise of safety given to the saints for obedience to the Word of Wisdom sets a very low bar. The Word of Wisdom, as the Lord explained, is adapted to the capacity of the weakest of saints. The Lord does not ask much for His protection. He simply asks the saints and the weak of the world to conform to His health plan, something they should do for their own benefit anyway. This low bar is in harmony with the first Passover, where all the Lord required the Israelites to do was to smear lamb's blood on the doorposts. The second Passover will occur before the opening of the gate of heaven and the appearance of the sign of the Son of Man. And we know this because John's revelation gives the sequencing of the great events of the apocalypse, including the second Passover, the opening of the gate of heaven, and the appearance of the great sign. To begin, we must point out that, independent of John's revelation, we already know in part the sequencing of the appearance of the sign of the Son of Man. For the sign to appear, 3 planets and their associated phenomena must be present above Earth's North Pole. These planets are Mars, Venus, and Saturn. The Axis Mundi and Saturnian crescent must also be present. John's revelation provides a sequential account of the restoration of these planets and phenomena. Mars is the first to appear on the scene. John describes the appearance of the red planet as a great star falling to Earth from heaven and burning like a lamp. He calls the star Wormwood, a name associated with Mars. John then describes Mars as another star falling from heaven. This is not a different star. He describes the star as the angel of the bottomless pit and gives it the Greek name of Apollyon. Venus next appears as the Christian version of the Queen of Heaven, the female planet's most recognizable and worldwide mythic form. The last on the scene will be the planet Saturn, descending from heaven as the New Jerusalem. Now, with the return of Mars, the World Mountain, the Axis Mundi, will be formed between the red planet and the Earth. The first explicit appearance of the Axis Mundi is the appearance of the Great Red Dragon. Later, as the red dust in the Axis Mundi recedes, it appears as a more transparent sea of glass, mingled with a red fire-like color. Lastly, the polar axis appears completely clear and transparent, like unto gold and crystal glass. The return of the cometary Venus will provide the plasma streamers that will form the streets and gates of the city. When Saturn returns, so will the crescent, the lighting of the sun on the ringed planet. The crescent will form the gate of heaven when it is at its lowest and brightest point. Now, as Saturn and the other planets of the polar configuration rotate, Saturn will open, in turn, each gate of the heavenly city. When the crescent reaches its lowest point on April 6th, the door of the heavenly temple will open and the sign of the Son of Man will appear.